Initiative. Raise your hand if you didn't have internet when you were in high school. Okay, my children who don't live in Egypt, they're 12 and 10, they say, well, what was it like to live in the old days, before you had the internet and cell phones, mobile phones, and of course those of us who grew up maybe in the 70s or 80s or even early 90s didn't have email, we didn't have smartphones, we didn't even have cell phones, we had the regular phones in our homes, in our offices with the cords. We had more face-to-face communication than anything. Today, there's probably more time that our students are communicating sitting next to each other, texting, than actually talking. We have immediate resources at our hands through computers or any manner of technological devices today. So what you as students have compared to your parents or myself is very, very different, and I'm sure over the next few years, as technology changes exponentially, it will even be more different. Now, how does that relate to school? Obviously, for a foundational piece at any school, you have to have the basics to provide an internet platform for everybody to be able to use. But the purpose of this, and what Scott Tummelson, who is our Director of Technology, will discuss is how can technology enhance the educational process or learning for our kids? How is it a tool for teachers to deliver the content to the students so that they can become better learners? That really is what this initiative is all about. I would really like to say over the last few years, and particularly this year, the school has made exceeding bounds in the use of technology, and we're really doing our best to make significant investment to really help that educational process. And this is just one of those pieces, one of the programs that we're doing right now that we'll be implementing next year for middle school students and obviously for you as parents. So with that, I'll turn the time over to Scott, who will lead the meeting. So thank you, Scott.
Welcome. Thanks for coming. What we're going to talk about is actually a really big deal.
Scott, we can't hear you back here.
What we're going to talk about is actually a really, really big deal. Fundamental changes. Big things that are happening here at Schutz. We really are changing so very much with just one little seemingly small piece. We are actually the only school in Egypt. Schutz is the only school in Egypt that is implementing the things that we are implementing, at least as far as we know, and specifically Chromebooks, which we're going to talk about. And the thing that I want you to know is that we're doing this right. We're doing this to the best degree possible. The things that we're doing equal the things that are happening anywhere else in the world. There's really, really exceptionally good platforms that we're working with. And I want to tell you that when Nathan brought me on board and asked me to do this, he didn't ask me to find the cheapest. He didn't ask me to find the easiest, and certainly not the fastest. My instructions were to find the best solution. And I believe that we've done this. Not once through this process, this year-long process of developing this plan, was I told that it's too expensive and I need to look for a less expensive option. Really what his challenge to me constantly was, is this the best? Are you confident in this being the best? And my answer without fail was yes. So, I can tell you Nathan talked about several things that we've been doing. From the start of school this year to the start of school next year, our bandwidth, and that's really our connection and our key to all of this, it is 10 times what it was. So we're going to have 100 megabits per second, which may be a little bit of geek speak, but that's really quite fast, and it's very unusual for an organization in Alexandria in Egypt. So we're doing it right. Wireless access, you may have noticed since you've been on campus, wireless access has been dramatically improved. We have a sort of best-in-class wireless solution, and that's what all of this relies on that. And I think it's, and finally we have the Chromebooks, but I want to take a minute and just say thank you to Nathan and the rest of the administration for having the vision to put this together, put the pieces in place, and support this, because this is a fundamental change that we're talking about here. You students are actually very lucky. You're extremely lucky. You are lucky to have an administration that values this. You're lucky to have a board that values this, that they're supporting this. You are incredibly lucky. You're lucky to be in a school like Schutz that realizes and recognizes that technology is key to helping you along your way as adults. You're lucky to have teachers that are willing to accept the challenge, that are ready and anxious to implement this technology. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. These are some pretty fundamental changes. How do you address a class with notebooks, paper notebooks, and how you address a class and manage a class with notebooks are completely different things. How do you do that? And your teachers are taking it upon themselves to learn how to do that. That's what I like about this group, actually. They're learners themselves. So you're lucky, because I can't tell you how many conversations I have with people who said, why are you doing this in the middle school? Why don't you do this in the high school? I mean, the kids need computers in high school, they need to research things, and so why on earth would you use it in the middle school? Well, your teachers have told me that you are trustworthy and you can handle this. It's a big, big, big amount of responsibility, and they believe, and I believe, that you're up to the challenge of managing it. So I'm excited about it. I'm happy that you're as lucky as you are. So keep that in mind as we go through this. The presentation is going to go a little bit like this. We are going to walk through some slides. We're going to talk about the program overall. We're going to talk about the devices very briefly. Then some of your teachers are going to get up and they're going to tell you how they're going to use this technology in the classrooms. And then I'm going to take a quick walk through the handbook, which has all the things all the costs and rules and regulations and everything. And then we're going to have questions at the end. So if you don't mind, if you do have questions, just hang on to the end, and we'll have some time at the end to go through that. So the model for schools, that most schools in the U.S. and even Schutz for some time, has been a model that was developed quite some time ago. That model. That's what our schools are designed for and designed to do. It's all too often, I think this looks like Mr. Carter. No.
Not that old.
Not at all. Yeah, you're an alien that never ages. So I call this the sage on stage, right? So I'm on stage, I have all the information, I'm the font of knowledge, and I'm giving it to you, and there is no learning, there's nothing you can possibly teach me because I'm the smart one. Now, that's a model that works pretty good for certain things, but I'm happy to say that we have progressed a little bit. That was fast. To this. We now have color photographs, but often that turns into this. I lost my thunder there when I skipped through that slide. So, really, what we believe is technology can transform this into this. Shouldn't this be something that we're striving for? I mean, look at those kids. They're working, they're learning. They're not just sitting there, they're not falling asleep. What about this? That's great. Students leading other students. It's fantastic. It's exactly what we want. That's how the most powerful learning possible happens, right? Here's another example. Small group and a teacher. And that's the model that we're trying to go for. And technology allows us to do that. Now, why? Why are we going for that model? That very first black and white slide prepares students for this kind of job. We don't have these kinds of jobs anymore. As for this kind of job, we don't have those either. Your students, you guys, are going to end up working in a place like this. Or this. Or this. Wouldn't that be cool to work there? I tried to get them to make my office like that. So that's what we're talking about. That's why we're doing this. That's why it's so critical, because our students, your children, are not going to emerge from school into the same world that we did. It's different. We have to prepare them. That's our job. That's why you send them here. Okay? So, we need to think of a new paradigm. We need to think of we need a new way to approach this. And how we're going to do it, this is our plan. We are going to become a Google school. So how do we do that? We embrace digital tools. That's a digital tool. These websites, programs, those are all digital tools. We're going to use digital tools to help your students be better prepared when they exit the school here. Okay? Google Apps for Education, it's a platform. What that means is that that's sort of the core of what we're going to do, how we're going to approach it. We're going to use this platform to do all kinds of other things. We'll talk in a minute about that, what it is, and Chromebooks. But this one, to me, really reinforces how seriously this school board and the administration and this organization take this initiative. This is a big spend for a school of our size. We're going to have a full-time, experienced technology integrator stationed in the middle school to help the teachers learn how to teach using these tools. Because it's very different. Big changes, very difficult changes in some cases. So we're going to bring somebody in, we're going to invest in it to make sure that we do it right. And from the start, what I said was, we should not do it if we don't have this piece. And I can't tell you how happy I am that this was agreed upon, because this is key to the whole success of the success of the entire program. Okay? So, talked about Google Apps. That's our platform. You know what some of them are: Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Google Drive. How many know what Google Drive is? Look at the fifth graders, yeah. So Google Drive is a way that you can, it's a digital storage, right? It's available everywhere. It's a place that you're not going to be saving things on your hard drive and then your hard drive crashes. It all happens in the cloud, okay? Docs, same thing as Microsoft Word. Sheets is Microsoft Excel. Slides, Drawings, which is Microsoft Visio. I don't know how many people use that. That was a really powerful tool. In fact, I used it to draw this beautiful shelf that I have space for 400 Chromebooks with chargers down the side and everything. It was fantastic. Our crew here is amazing. But I use Google Drawing to do it. That's like an $800 or $900 product. It's available to us for free with Google Apps for Education. Sites and Forms. Sites is websites. Forms is a way to digitally collect information. Classroom is the way that we manage the assignment and collection of assignments. And then Hangouts, which is this really cool tool. It's like Skype, but it's built in and baked into Google. So if somebody's out absent, they can check in, do a little Google Hangout. Hey, how you feeling? Here's the things that we worked on. You can even attend the class virtually, potentially. So you can also have multiple user calls. I think the number is like 15 people at the same time. It might even be more than that. They keep changing it and adding features to this. But all of this is available free to us. So why wouldn't we do this? These are world-class, amazing tools that are available to us. So we're doing it. Okay? And we're doing it with this. This is a Chromebook. So what's a Chromebook? Anyone know? It's a Google computer, that's correct. Now, this is no MacBook. make no mistake, we're not going to be editing movies on it. We're not going to be downloading movies. We're not going to be playing, third-person shooter games or anything like that. It is a device that is designed to deliver Google Apps for education, and it is an educational device. Okay, so it is not the most powerful device out there. We don't need it to be, because if you think about it, really, all of the power of this system is handled by Google. We don't have any servers. Well, we do have servers, but we don't have any servers that deal with this. We do all of our stuff in the cloud. We don't have to buy a server. We don't have to pay for it. We don't have to pay for the operating system. We don't have to put virus protection on it. We don't have to worry about hackers, because Google does it for us. So there's tremendous, huge power at Google. There are literally buildings full of people that are worrying about this. And it's available for us for free in a very low cost, and we access it using a very low cost, thin client. Here's technically what it is. It is essentially a cloud, something that sits on a cloud, but here's what it offers us. It's a stable, secure, standardized computing platform focused on student learning. Now, I know the first question. I just bought a MacBook Air. Can I just use that? The answer is no. And the reason you can't use it is because what we want to do and what we need to do is make sure that we have a stable platform, a standard platform, so your teacher doesn't have to say, wait a minute, does this behave differently on a Mac than it does on a PC, than it does on a Chromebook? It's got to be the same, okay? It has to be the same, it's going to be the same, and it is the same. So the answer is, what's the answer? Can I use my MacBook? No. No, you may not. Okay, so what we're going to do now is talk a little bit about some of the things that your teachers are going to be able to do with this. And really amazing stuff. And you're going to hear about exciting things, but the reality is that there's so very, very, very much more that we don't even know yet. We don't even know the amazing things that you guys are going to be able to do with this, and how you're going to use these tools to do wonderful things, okay?
Hello, everyone. Let me also echo Scott's greeting, Mr. Collison, to the children, and welcoming you here this afternoon. If you were listening, I'm sure you were, 5th, 6th, and 7th graders, to Mr. Tomlinson's opening remarks, he used the word challenge, learning, and he's just used the word standardized. Someone with a hand up high, tell us what standardized means. You were Mr. Green a while ago. Are you Mr. Blue? Okay.
Computer that is standard, like it's not complicated.
Can you repeat that? Sometimes things that are standard are not complicated. Someone else. What did Mr. Tomlinson mean by standardized? How some?
Everything is the same.
Bless you. Everything is the same. So this means that stories like, oh, Mrs. Ebank, I emailed you my presentation, but I did it on a Mac, so all my animations won't work. Do you know how that makes me feel? That makes me feel incredibly sad. So I love this word, standardized. I'm going to know that whether it's 5th grade, or 6th grade, or 7th grade, or whatever, 100th grade, I know the Chromebook is going to support an activity that all children are involved with. This is incredibly exciting. Another thing that gives me a big, big happy face is I don't have to worry about the computer lab being booked. I don't have to worry about, like, seniors being in there, because we'll have our own. Portable, carried with us every day. To me, that is, if nothing else, those are two incredibly exciting things. So up here, I've just given you, as Mr. Tomlinson said, the tip, not even the tip of an iceberg. Because you know what? Remember, we're going to have a technology integrator. And I know what I think I'm going to be doing with it, but I'm more excited about what I'm going to be learning to do with it. But in terms of teaching language arts per se, these are just 7 of the starred things that are important. They're going to happen. You recall the beautiful picture of Scott's dream office, right? Okay, this means that we have opportunities for cooperative and collaborative learning. You know, when I think about my school day, except from 7 to 8 in the morning when I'm alone to finish preparations, I'm collaborating all day long. And your children will be in a world just like that. As Mr. Walker said, they're on their social media with people all over the world. So if you skim through this list, number 4, building background knowledge and concepts to support comprehension. This is crucial, absolutely crucial. I'll show you an example of that in just a moment. Vocabulary, websites to learn and practice skills. Nothing is more boring than having to worry about where quotation marks go. I get that. Personally, I love quotation marks. And I love commas and capital letters. But I'm an English teacher. I have a passion for those things. I get the fact that my children are going, well, we'll just excuse her and hope she gets over it. But if you have to practice those skills, being able to have all 22 students, accessing a site, somebody working on quotation marks, somebody else working on verb tenses, somebody else working on comma splices. That's so exciting. So if you think about the 4th one, background knowledge, what does this slide look like? Doesn't look like anything. Just put my glasses on because I can't find the right key. Okay. The first picture you're looking at, that's called a wordly. Now, I know that my 7th graders and my 6th graders love their orange vocabulary workbooks. I know you do. Thank you for nodding. You treasure them with all your heart. But we can also do things like Wordly. Take those words, take words from our stories, take words from science, anything we're doing, and work with them creatively. We can collaborate. Websites like Blogster. Want to introduce yourself to your new classmates? Make a cartoon. Use Blogster. Fantastic. I teach at grade 7 a wonderful book called Dragon Wings. It is set in San Francisco in Chinatown. Been to Chinatown? Well, then take a look. That's what it looks like. Building concepts, finding information. Websites that support learning. This happens to be Scholastic. Another book that I teach is Stargirl. It is set in the Arizona desert, in a desert community. What does a saguaro cactus look like? 1 click, 2 clicks of your mouse, and you have it done. So these are the things that I know I will be doing, and I'm excited about that. But truly, I'm more excited about the journey that your children and I are going to have. We're going to write, we're going to blog, we're going to read, we're going to have fun. And we hope to involve you parents, too, in what we are doing. Okay? Mr. Thomason, I think that's all. Miss George will now tell you about science.
I have to second everything that everyone has said. We as a middle school team are really excited about this adventure that we are on. And like Mrs. Eubank said, we're excited to learn about this. This is new for us as a school. So we'll be learning right along with your students next year. I wanted to share with you just some things as a science teacher that I'm excited about doing. And again, there's so many things that we will figure out as students and teachers, even more things that we're able to do. An example is collaborative learning in projects. So, if every student is assigned a different disease, and then they're able to easily share it or work together on those. So that's something I'm trying to currently do with the what we have, but it limits us a little bit. As a science teacher, sometimes our supplies, what we're able to do without some crazy equipment, is we can do some online simulations and labs for science. So really excited for students to just be able to work through those together with me in class. So a lot more hands-on. And then there's a lot of different ways that we can communicate and collaborate with the scientific community. So why not reach out to scientists? Why not see whether it's another middle school class is doing in their science class, whether it's these are scientists from the Smithsonian are doing and forming that collaboration. So those are just a few pieces that I'm really excited about. But like I said, there's a lot more to come, and I'll pass it over to Carter Sensei.
All right. As the social studies teacher, I'm also quite excited about this new venture. And this is something, to be honest, before I came to Schutz, I was hoping to be involved in a one-to-one program. So I was obviously very delighted when at the beginning of the year it was announced that we were shooting to create this for the following year. So I'm very excited to be a part of it, and I've already started talking with Mr. Tomlinson and our new tech integrator who's going to be helping us put this together. In terms of social studies, there's a lot that we are going to be able to do. First of all, we have the option of the curriculum that we use is called TCI, which is the textbooks everyone, even the fifth graders you have. We will be using that, and there is a capability of doing this. Some students already do this at home. Some students do it on their tablets. We will be able to do this in class if we choose to. And beyond just the reading the text, there's ways to kind of annotate the text, add notes. There's also some of the activities that we do, currently doing a workbook, we can be doing online. So this is one aspect, would be working in the TCI model on our Chromebooks. And then beyond that, we can be able to do a lot of in-class collaboration. So for example, this is an assignment that my sixth graders already completed. We did this one really kind of doing it at home, but the reason I want to put this up here, I did this kind of as a test to see how it would work using Google Slides, which is one of the tools that Mr. Tomlinson spoke about, which is wonderful. Actually, no, this is Google Sites. Mrs. George was using the presentation as Google Slides. That's like a PowerPoint, right? Which is really cool because you can. I've done this actually with one of my classes we did in Connect, where we were studying something together in the computer lab. Right? So we're all in there, and we created our own presentation. So each person was researching one different aspect of the topic, and at the same time, we're all working on the same presentation. So it's really cool because you can go on someone's site and you can watch them, the letters popping up, and you can see, Joe's working on that, and Sarah just added a picture to that. So you're working together in the moment, and it's really powerful. You can give each other feedback, you can leave comments or whatever. Then we have Google Sites, which is basically creating your own website, okay? And these are free. So I created this website. We were studying the Renaissance. We were studying some of the important figures from the Renaissance. So I figured I'll create the homepage, and then the students paired up, and each one of them chose one of them, and then they followed kind of the assignment, the rubric, which was make sure you include a biography, make sure you include why they're influential, some pictures, a map, things like that. And this is just the beginning of one of the pages. Who did the William Shakespeare page? Mr. Hamza and Mr. Judah, okay. And so this just shows now, the beauty of this is we could actually do this in class, right? Instead of us going through this chapter and me, like Mr. Tomlinson was saying, me being the sage on the stage, I have all the knowledge, listen to me. We could say, all right, in your book, you'll see these different sections. You two can work on Shakespeare. You two can work on Copernicus. And then we can circle back, and we can either go over them in class together, or the assignment could be at home, go through the website, and do your assignment based on the website that you just created. Okay. So this puts learning into the students' hands, and it lets them take a much more active role in the learning experience. And Mr. Tomlinson started to mention something called Google Classroom, which is really exciting. And that's because it allows teachers to deliver assignments to students, and it allows the students a means to complete the assignment and then deliver it back to the teacher without going through all the logistics or the waste of paper. Okay, here's the handout, which I know you're going to throw out after class. Here's the assignment on another piece of paper, which you're going to write something on it, I'm going to get it back, I'm going to put a grade, and eventually, if it's not a major assessment, it's also going to go in the trash, right? So we're able to save a lot of paper, we're able to streamline this process, and using this kind of system, there's more feedback, it's easier feedback, right? You know, Joe hands me his assignment, and I notice, okay, well that, you know, he should have done this, he should have done that. Instead of me finding him and make sure you read my edits, it's right there. So I send it right back to him, and he can see, oh, I did that wrong. Okay, now I know, right? So it opens up these kind of comments. And the last thing that, well, not the last thing, but another thing that is really interesting is, you know, I know students love to, you know, they love to chat with each other on the phone or text or you know, their WhatsApp group and everything. So one thing that's great about this model is we can actually replicate that and put it into an academic setting. Okay, so we can do what's called a back channel chat. And a back channel chat is where we'll have a topic, and students, it could be during class if the teacher sets it out there, or it could be like for homework, where it says, okay, we're studying the Renaissance, right? So today's question is, okay, what do you think was the most important factor that led to the Renaissance? And then each student can get on their Chromebook and they can write what they think. They can react to each other. Oh, well, he had a good answer, but he forgot to add this. Or, well, that was true, but it was actually in this year, right? I can send feedback, okay, this is great, but why aren't you forgetting about this or that, right? So it really creates a forum where students can interact with each other and with the teacher, and it's a really great model. So that's just a taste of what we're going to be doing, and we are very, very excited for it. And so I will hand it back over to Mr. T.
Yeah, actually, why wouldn't you, Mrs. Eubanks, have a Google Hangout with someone in San Francisco if you wanted to learn? You do. We have the tools. So, now on to the boring part, and this is where we're going to go over the handbook and talk about the nuts and bolts of the program. Okay? Right. So, you'll notice we don't have handouts, yet we have a handbook. And our handbook is on the website. So, if you would please, when you go home, review this there. There are some 2 signature pages that we'll go over. And you can see that the way you get there is you go to About, you go to Technology, and you can see over here the Chromebook. So we're going to page our way through this. You'll see you scroll down the bottom here, you can view your copy of the agreement here. And then we cast this down. All right, so bear with me as we go through this. 2 really important things. Chromebooks will not be issued to anyone. Actually, no, I'm sorry. They will be. Chromebooks will be distributed the first weeks of school. We're going to work through it. We're going to get them out as quickly as possible. It may not be that very first week. But parents and students must complete and sign the student-parent Chromebook use agreement and student technology services acceptable use documents. Now, the acceptable use is a document that everybody has to sign. Essentially says these are appropriate uses of our technology. These are not. These are the consequences if you don't follow the rules, and everybody has to sign that. The Chromebook use agreement is obviously for classes that do that. Now, the next point that I want to make, students will not receive a device until an active and accurate parent email address has been entered into our database and verified. Apparently, there's been some people that have not chosen to share email addresses. that's not going to be acceptable in this program. We need to have email addresses, we need to have a way to contact you, and they need to be, that's what the way we're going to communicate. So this communication for this, it was an example of how we're going to operate in the future, okay? Primary way of communicating, right? So the bottom line is, here's the plan. Students are going to be assigned the same device for 3 years. At the end of that 3-year use window, the device is no longer going to be used in school, and the ownership of that device will be transferred to the families. Okay? So after 3 years, the school owns it for 3 years, then you can have it. Okay, and we're gonna cycle up to our next batch of them at that point. We will define whether it will be new or refurbished, but the devices at this point will only be used for 3 years. Once assigned, students must, actually I should say must take the devices home. But they have to bring them, but must return the device and the accessories and charger. This is our sleeve that we're using. Everybody will get one of these too. It's lovely, it's black, and it's cushy. And a charger. Because, I don't know, maybe I think I mentioned that. This is kind of an interesting one. These devices are not available in Egypt. They're not supported by Google in Egypt. The hoops that we had to go through to get these things are incredible. I could not get them with not a U.S. Port. So we're still trying to find a source for that. I think we've got it. We'll have it figured out. So you'll get the Chromebook, you'll get the sleeve, and you'll get the charger. When we want them back, we need it back. We'll tell you when we want them back. Devices may be collected at various times. We'll go to questions at the end, okay? I'm just trying to be quick here. If Chromebook accessories are not returned, we'll deal with the police. Hopefully we don't have to do that. Using a Chromebook. Here's an important one. Chromebook is intended for use at school each and every day. In addition to teacher expectations for Chromebook use, school messages, announcements, calendars, academic handbooks, student handbooks, and schedules will be accessed using the Chromebook. So we're not doing paper. Students are responsible for bringing their Chromebooks to all classes unless specifically asked not to do so by their teacher. So we're probably not going to bring them to gym. And we're going to talk in a minute about what you're going to do when you go to gym. At home, students are required to take their Chromebooks home each night for charging throughout the school year. It is a requirement that Chromebooks be brought to school fully charged each and every day. There are no charging facilities that will be available at school. You must have them charged. You must have them charged every day. The batteries last on these about 11 hours. So you should be fine. We're going to do questions at the end. So if students leave their Chromebook at home, they must immediately phone parents to bring the Chromebook to school. Repeat violations will result in taken to administration. It'll be dealt with as a disciplinary thing. This is your textbook. This is what you need to bring every single day. You can't come to class without your pencil. This is your pencil. And right there, by the way, I did the no-no. You shouldn't do what I just did and hold it up in the air. Sound must be muted at all times unless permission is obtained from the teacher. Printing. We're not going to print at school. Only in extreme circumstances are we going to print. At home, you can set it up to print, but that's on you to do. And there's some instructions on how to do it. Managing your files and saving your work. So there is an opportunity for you to save files on here in some cases. Very rare cases, but it can happen. So we're going to make sure that we don't support that. You can't do that. Use Google Drive. You got to use Google Drive. We manage the updates. Happens automatically. We manage the software that goes on it. Virus protection, you don't have to worry about it because it's built into the system. You may not, listen carefully to this, you may not try to add any additional software. They should be locked down that you don't. But again, we're learning about this, so please do not do it. If you do it, something breaks, bad things will happen. Right? This is an important one, inspection. Students, you need to understand that your teachers will ask you from time to time to take a look at your Chromebook. And if you have put some things that are inappropriate, if you have installed software that you shouldn't have, there are going to be consequences to that. That's not going to be a problem. I'm confident of it. Here is the, everyone's getting squirrely, huh? It's like past 15 minutes, and I'm talking about boring stuff. I know what you mean. Okay, this is what it looks like. This is the labels. There are only 2 labels that are allowed on it. Right here is what we call an asset tag. And this is obviously my name. Those 2 stickers will be on there. Those are all the only stickers that will be allowed. You may not put any other stickers. You may not take these off. Period. Questions at the end. Storing your Chromebook. You must. Here's the one you're not going to like. It has to go in your locker, and your locker has to be locked. If it's not in front of you, it has to be in your locker, and your locker must be locked. Questions at the end. It cannot be, no discussion, we're not talking about that. It cannot be left anywhere. You are responsible for it. This is yours. You may not, I'm thinking of a reference to a movie right now, what I'm not going to say, but you must have this at all times, and you must know where it is, and it must be locked down if you do not have it on your person. So it can't be left in a classroom unsupervised. It can't be left in the library. Your bag. I mean, you guys love to leave your bags all around. Can't do it. Locker, locked. Period. Okay. If we find unsupervised Chromebooks, we'll confiscate them. We'll take it to the principal's office. You won't get it back until you have a meeting with the principal. And she's not going to be happy because this is something that we've made very clear that they need to be locked in the locker. Damaged or faulty Chromebooks. Here is this. We have several things. If you have a malfunctioning Chromebook, you need to talk to your teacher. Your teacher will then arrange time with IT for you to come bring the device to us. It's all managed by your teacher so that you don't just get, hey, this is the test I didn't study for. Hey, Miss George, can I go, it's broken, can I go take it? We're not gonna play those games. You're gonna work it out with your teacher, you're gonna bring it to us at a time that they decide, and we'll figure it out. It gets delivered to us, we'll do what's called the 5-minute rule. Well, that's 5 minutes trying to fix it. If we can't fix it, then it turns into a repair. A repair incurs what is called a $50 Chromebook repair fee. Can you guess how much that costs? $50. Sometimes repairs are going to be more expensive, sometimes they're going to be less expensive. We don't want to get into any situations where we're saying, well, you could have gotten this screen cheaper over here if you did this. We're just saying, look, we got to deal with it more than 5 minutes if it's $50. It's all going to come out in the wash in the end, okay? So we recommend that one of these fees be kept on account at the finance office, because we're not going to give a replacement device or a loaner device, which we might have, not guaranteed. We're not going to give any of those until we're sure that we have this fee. Okay, we have to keep track of this, and with the number of devices that we're dealing with, this is something we can't be too flexible on. So that is that. Now. One other point here, we want to make sure that you don't store things on there, because after that 5 minutes, our very first step is going to be wipe the whole thing down, erase everything, and start fresh. So if there's any files on it, we're not moving them. We're not going to have time to deal with those things. We have a solution for you. It's Google Drive. Store all your stuff in Google Drive. Okay. Chromebooks loaners might be available, may be available. We don't know. We're going to need to see how quickly we circle through these. Now, here's the one. If damage occurs, and not necessarily complete loss, if damage occurs as a result of abuse, neglect, or carelessness, so if I, as an IT person, decide that this damage is a result of abuse, neglect, or carelessness, that's what you got to be careful with. Get it? There will be a full replacement fee of $450 due in the finance office before a replacement will be given. So we are expecting you to be very careful with these things and treat these things with tremendous care, okay? One other thing, parents, we have to buy them because we buy them with licensing, and it's all associated with our Google Apps for Education account, so they have to come through us. It's not something that you can go purchase and then just replace for us, okay? So that's why we have that $450 fee, okay? Okay. Final little shebang here. All right, here's our rules. Never remove or alter any labels on a Chromebook. Bring the Chromebook to every class unless otherwise directed by a teacher. Ensure the Chromebook is brought to school fully charged. No on-site charging facilities are available. Treat the Chromebook gently and appropriately. Never eat or drink near your Chromebook. Right? Cords, cables, and removable storage devices must be inserted and removed carefully. These are not the aluminum MacBook devices. They're plastic. They're inexpensive, and they're fragile. So you need to be very, very, I can't stress this enough, and you're going to hear it so many times. Never, ever, ever move, listen to this one, fifth graders. Never move your Chromebook while the power cord is plugged in. Because what happens, it happens all the time, and I've done this on my own personal device, you have it charging, and you go, oh hey, I want to get a cracker. You forget that it's plugged in, it drops out of your hand, and it lands on the charger, and it busts it, and we're not going to deal with that. So, never move it while the charger is in. Never carry your Chromebook when the screen is open. If it's being moved, it must be closed and in the supplied sleeve. Let me say that again. If you're moving it, it must be closed and in the sleeve. So if I need to go from here to here, sounds crazy, gotta close it, put it in the sleeve, take it over here, take it out, and open it up. I know it sounds silly. You really don't have that many extras to deal with problems, okay? Oh, listen to that grumbling. I like that one. All right, folks, stay with me, we're almost done. No writing on it, no stickers. Never, ever be left in a car unsupervised in unsecured areas. You can't leave it in a car because, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but this is Egypt and it gets very hot. And hot is bad for computers, so let's not do that. Students must use Google Drive. So here is a question I'm sure that people are going to ask. I'm sure that one of the hand raisings was about the skins, right? Can we use skins? You can't do stickers, but can we do skins? You got to show either Mr. Islam or myself the skin first, and we got to approve it. And you got to get it in writing that it's okay to put it on there, okay? Only charge the device with the charger that we give you. Don't charge it with anybody else. You must immediately notify your teacher if there's an issue with the Chromebook. Now, the most delicate piece of this question is at the end, is the screen, right? So screen, do not lean or place anything on top of an open or closed Chromebook. So don't put anything on top of it. Don't place anything near the Chromebook because of pressure on the screen. Don't leave a pen in there and then close it because the screen will break. The screen will break. I guarantee it. Happens every time. Don't poke the screen. Right there. Don't place anything on the keyboard or closing the lid. I think I just covered that. Clean it with a slide, and there's the things about that. So then we've got the acceptable use policy, which I will let you read from the website. It's very, very boring. And this is the signature page. We need to have the student and parent for every student that attends Schutz, so this one does not cover everybody. And then here is the part that identifies what the actual requirements are. Okay? Okay. Believe it or not, it's time for questions. I am so terrible with names. Bilal, right? Yeah! You gotta speak up.
I have this thing called Moki that charges any device when it goes out. So can I? It's something that you put on the charge. It's something like the iPhones that you put on. It's a
The answer?
It's a portable charger.
Does anybody know the answer? No! The answer is no. Use only the supply charger. Yes. Can you write your name on the... no. Don't do that. You don't need to. Yes. If you lost your charger, how will you know? You're not bringing your charger to school. You're keeping it in your house. Because it's gonna be charged when it comes to school. All right. Yes. Shh. I'm sorry. Can you speak up? You every night you will be taking it to your house. You will not keep it over the summer though. You'll bring it back over so that we can do stuff over the summer too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm deaf.
Will we do a password on it?
Yes, you do a password on it. You get a Google account. It's the same account that you guys have been working on in class, actually. That's how you log in. Your schutzschool.org.eg email accounts. And all you guys are going to get one. They've actually been created, but you'll get one. Oh, no, you already wrote a test one. Let's go, keep going. Louder. You get to keep the Chromebooks for 3 years, and every summer they come back to us, and every time we ask for it. But after 3 years, you get to keep them forever. Yes. Louder. Can you use a what? Friend's charger? I'm going to say don't ask that question. Okay, let's go over here.
After 3 years, like for us, and 2 years, we're going to be in high school. Are we going to use it?
That's right. So next year, we start this in the high school, and the year after that, we actually take it down to the elementary school. So, yes.
You know the black sleeve
Pardon me?
on it, the cover, the black thing on it.
Yes.
Can we buy our own?
No, but what I would recommend that you do is that you create a label, like a tag, like a luggage tag, and
Can
put
you
it on
put the
there.
cover on the laptop?
Pardon me?
Can you put the cover
You
on
can
the
put a skin on it, but it has to be, what did I say about skins? It has to be approved by IT, and it has to be a signed approval. Okay, next.
What if we don't want the GoPro?
What's that?
What if we don't want the GoPro?
What if you don't want it? I have an answer, I probably shouldn't say, but I'm sorry. Yeah, you need it because it's our stable, secure control platform. All right, can we hold it, guys? Shh. I'm sorry.
You already answered it.
Okay, ask and answer.
What if I already have a Gmail account?
You have to use you can only, these are set up so you can only log in with a schutzschool.org.eg email account. And you'll be this group over here will be given those at the beginning of next year. Okay?
And will there be someone to teach us how to be able to drive?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, unfortunately. I know. I don't like it either, but that's what we got, yes. Yeah, so extracurricular activities, there's no difference to the rule. If it's not in your possession, you're not holding it, You're not physically holding it, or if it's not a desk in front of you, it must be in your locker box. Okay? After school, anything. Okay? All right. Yes?
When I was searching the Chromebook on the internet, I saw that there were many kinds.
There are a ton of kinds. Yes, absolutely. This one is actually really a pretty nice one. I did a lot of work to identify
Do
this.
you all have the Acer one?
You all have this exact one, yes.
Can you pass it around?
Pardon me?
Can you pass it around?
You can come look at it, because remember, it's got to be, if I'm moving it, it has to be closed and in the sleeve, which wouldn't be good for looking at it. Okay? You use the emails for something else. So, I said it a couple times, and I'm going to reinforce this. This is for academic purposes. This is an academic thing. So, I don't really care if you can't watch movies on it. I really don't. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you can't play the game that you want to play. I simply have no care in my body about that one. This is an academic thing. So, can you use your email address to contact people outside? Absolutely. Right now, we have a cutoff at 5th grade. We have what's called a walled garden. They already have their email addresses, their schutzschool.org.eg email addresses, and they can only email within the domain, so to other people with that same thing. When you go to 6th grade, you graduate, and then you get to be able to email other people, and other people can email you. So yes, technically you can. It is for academic purposes, and one thing I want to make very clear is that you should not expect that anything that you put in an email is not being read by me or Mrs. Schwab. Okay? This is the expectations of behavior in email. Listen carefully, folks. Hello. The expectations for behavior in a digital environment are exactly the same as they are for a physical environment. So you may not bully, you may not use language that Ms. Schwab would not like, or your other teachers. I mean, you have to behave appropriately, okay? So we're running over a little 3. How about like 5 more questions? All right? And how about parents? Parents, any questions? Okay, yeah. Absolutely not. It's a good question. It's a good question. Hold on. Hold on, what? No doubt about it. This is nothing more than, well, it is something more than that, but it is, you can think of it as a digital textbook, a way to communicate with other teachers. I mean, really, probably the ratio of reading to verbal instruction will probably stay about the same, right? So it will not, it cannot, and it never will be able to. There are places that actually have what are called digital schools in the U.S. They're starting this thing where they're corporatized, for-profit digital schools. That it's a horrible model that's destined for failure, and that is not at all what we're going for. It's a tool. It's an incredibly powerful tool for those guys to be able to leverage to help their kids. Okay. Eventually, it will replace textbooks. The challenge is that the quality of the textbooks digitally is not as good right now as the quality of textbooks in paper. So, I don't know, in 5th grade, I know that my wife is the 5th grade teacher, Miss Kelly. She saw that they were different. The digital textbook was different than the paper textbook, and there were, grammatical errors and actually factual errors. So eventually, not right away. Okay, it's really at this point, next couple of years, it's going to be a tool, and then and I think really the model kind of starts to move away from textbooks as being the only authority, and we start using multiple sources then. So the library is going to remain because we still value reading, but Yes, absolutely. So, absolutely, yeah. It just opens up so much more. Yeah. Okay. What do we got? 3, 2? Absolutely. Yes. Without question, without a doubt. We'll probably be doing it digitally through Google Doc. But yeah, absolutely. Same mechanism for teaching, really. Not much changes, except a lot changes. I can't say that because a lot changes, but that is outside of my purview. But my wife would very much like to answer that question. And they were talking about it. I mean, the reality is that. You may not agree with me, but handwriting is kind of not really a skill that maintains. I know, but the reality is if I think about myself, like how much do I handwrite? My handwriting is absolutely atrocious. I can hardly read my writing after having handwriting tip. Well, so this is my opinion, and maybe in your opinion, thankfully, my wife may not share this opinion. Actually, she doesn't share this opinion. But for me, as a technologist and somebody who embraces technology in a very significant way, I would have an argument that it's those are some of the skills that sort of tend to wane as some others come up. But that's my opinion. It may not be shared. I speak only of myself, not as a representative of Schutz American School. Okay, 2 more. Anybody? This has to be not asked by anybody else. You promise? Okay. You will get a new Chromebook. That's 1. Last one. Make it count. All right, you haven't asked a question yet. Okay? 1, I have 2 answers. My first answer is if you do, I don't want to know about it. And my second answer is this. As long as you take it in there in the sleeve closed, technically you're abiding by my requirements. So, all right. So, folks, listen. Wait. On the website, about technology, Chromebook agreements, scroll down to the bottom. It says here. You click here. Take a look at them. Review them. If you have any questions, you can email me. Students, if you have any questions, you can ask your teachers. They're probably going to have a good sense of the answer. If they don't, you can come ask me. I thank you very much for your attendance today. I appreciate the opportunity to work with your wonderful children, and I wish you the best of summers possible.